Hello, welcome to Miracle Learning Center. Today we're going to learn about reactions of acids. First, let's look at what's the definition of an acid. An acid is defined by a substance that dissolves in water to form hydrogen ions as the only positive ions. Okay, what's the key word over here? You must have water in your definition, and you must have the word hydrogen ions. Okay, the reaction of acid always depends on hydrogen ions. If there are no hydrogen ions, that's not an acid. Okay, your common acids that you have learned are hydrochloric acid. You know the formula? You need to know the formula. Hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, and sulfuric acid. You notice all of them have hydrogen in them. Okay, that's why acid is defined by a substance that dissolves in water to produce hydrogen ions as the only positive ions. So there are three reactions of acids. The first reaction of acid is acid can react with a reactive metal to form salt and hydrogen. Okay, we have not learned about metals. I'll just let you know the three metals that are not reactive and will not react with the dilute acid. They are copper, silver, and gold. Okay, those of you who have not learned chemical formula, there's copper, silver, and gold. Okay, so acid reacts with reactive metal to form salt and hydrogen. Let's look at an example. For example, we have nitric acid reacting with magnesium metal. Is magnesium a reactive metal? Yes. So it will form a salt and it will form hydrogen. So what is the salt? Okay. The salt will be magnesium nitrate. Okay. So the salt, because it's a nitric acid, it forms a nitrate. Okay, let me give you another example. It is nitric acid again, reacting with zinc. So again, you will get hydrogen gas. Okay, now because the metal is zinc, so the salt will be zinc nitrate, ATE. Okay, how about if the salt, what is the salt form if it's with hydrochloric acid? Hydrochloric acid reacting with let's use zinc again. We will get zinc chloride. Okay. When you use hydrochloric acid, the salt ends with IDE, chloride, and hydrogen. Okay. And the last one, if it's with sulfuric acid, so we still use zinc. Now you will get zinc sulfate and hydrogen gas. You need to know the products. So when it's reacting with a reactive metal, you always get salt and hydrogen gas. Okay, you realize for sulfuric acid, you will get a sulfate. what if you need to write the chemical equation for those who have learned how to write the chemical formula? So nitric acid is HNO3 reacting with zinc. You will get zinc nitrate, Zn is 2 plus, and NO3 is minus. So you get ZnNO3, 2, and hydrogen gas. So you have 2 hydrogen here, but you have only 1 hydrogen here, so it's not balanced. And you have 2 nitrate and there's only 1 nitrate. When you balance equations, you can only write numbers in front. You cannot change any of the formulas. So what are you going to do? You can only add the number in front. So all you need to do is to add 2 in front to balance the equation. Okay, let's try one more. Sulfuric acid, H2SO4 with zinc. You're going to get zinc sulfate and hydrogen gas. And you realize it's already balanced, 2 hydrogen, sulfate, and zinc. Hydrogen gas, take note, is always H2. Hydrogen gas is diatomic. So what's the second reaction of acid? Acid reacts with a carbonate to form salt, carbon dioxide, and water. When it reacts with a carbonate, it will form carbon dioxide. Makes sense, right? Carbonate, carbon dioxide. So it's salt, carbon dioxide, and water. So if you have nitric acid with zinc carbonate. Okay, you're going to get carbon dioxide. Okay, I'm not going to spell it out because it's too long. Carbon dioxide and water. So carbon dioxide comes from the carbonate, right? And water, oxygen comes from carbonate, and the hydrogen comes from the acid. So we are left with zinc nitrate. See, the salt is the same. Nitric acid, you always get a nitrate. So the salt is zinc nitrate, ATE. So it's zinc nitrate, ATE. Carbon dioxide and water. You need to know exactly the products of the reaction. Okay, then we go on to sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid reacting with, you can react with sodium carbonate. So again, you get salt, carbon dioxide, and water. Okay, so carbonate produces the carbon dioxide, and your salt will be sodium sulfate. Okay. Sodium is the metal. Why sulfate? Because it's sulfuric acid. Remember? Sulfuric acid, you get a sulfate. So here you'll get sodium sulfate, carbon dioxide, and water. So similarly, you have hydrochloric acid. Reacting with zinc carbonate. Okay, we can put magnesium carbonate. So you will get magnesium chloride. Remember, hydrochloric acid always ends with a chloride. So you actually get magnesium chloride with carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so carbonate, you always get carbon dioxide. Hydrochloric acid, you always get a chloride. Okay, now again for the chemical equation for those who have learned. So you have nitric acid, HNO3, reacting with zinc carbonate. Zn, 2 plus, CO3 is 2 minus, so it's ZnCO3. Then you get zinc nitrate, Zn2 plus, NO3 is minus, plus carbon dioxide, plus water. So your carbonate produces the carbon dioxide. The extra oxygen goes to the water. So you have hydrogen here, goes to the water. Okay, so you need to balance the equation now. You have extra hydrogen over here. So you need to balance by putting a 2 in front, right? Remember, no changing of the chemical equation, which you have spent so much time memorizing. Okay? Okay, you can only put numbers in front when you're balancing the equation. So check, is it balanced now? So you have 2 hydrogen, and you have 2 hydrogen over here. Nitrate, 2 of them, and there's 2 nitrate. Okay, this 2 is for 2 hydrogen and 2 nitrate. Okay, zinc is 1, carbonate, CO2, correct? Because the other O has gone to the water, so it's balanced. Now the last one, the next one, sorry, is sulfuric acid reacting with sodium carbonate, Na plus CO3, 2 minus. So it's Na2, CO3. You can actually write it down first before you check answers with me. Sodium sulfate, Na2SO4, because SO4 is 2 minus, Na is plus carbon dioxide, plus water. Okay, so do you need to balance anything? Is it balanced? Check, okay? 2 hydrogen, yes, sulfate, 1 whole sulfate. Carbonate, yes, is balanced. Sodium is balanced. Okay, so it's totally balanced. You don't need to do anything. Okay, last one, hydrochloric acid with magnesium carbonate. You actually get magnesium chloride plus carbon dioxide plus water. Okay, so do you need to balance? Yes, because there's 2 chloride, 2 chlorine and 2 hydrogen. So you need to put 2 in front here. So is it balanced now? Yes, it's balanced. Okay, this is the second reaction of acid. So you need to remember the key, which is number 1, acid reacting with reactive metal, you get salt and hydrogen. Acid reacting with carbonate, you will get salt, carbon dioxide and water. And the third reaction will be acid and alkaline. Acid and alkaline is actually a neutralization reaction. And you will neutralize to form salt and water. Okay, let's look at the third one. Reaction with alkaline. Okay, you need to memorize the first reaction. This is a general reaction for the reaction of acid. And this third reaction is acid reacting with alkaline. Our base will form salt and water. Okay. So neutralization means nitric acid reacting with the alkaline. Okay, let's do alkaline first. Alkalis are your hydroxides. Okay? Sodium hydroxide is the alkaline. Okay? The alkaline consists of hydroxides. So you get sodium hydroxide and water. Salt and water. Salt, sorry, it's not sodium hydroxide, sodium nitrate, remember? Nitrate. Because nitric acid will give you a nitrate. Sodium nitrate and water. Sodium nitrate and water. So any other alkaline? Most common alkaline with sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. Okay, let's do one more. Sulfuric acid with potassium hydroxide potassium sulfates. Remember, sulfuric acid, you always get the sulfates, and water. Okay, acid and alkaline, you get salt and water. Acid base is also salt and water. Base is a insoluble metal oxide. For example, okay, we bring it over here. Nitric acid with a base, any metal oxides. Okay, so for example, magnesium oxide, a metal oxide is insoluble as a base. So you also get salt and water. Magnesium nitrate and water. Okay, remember the salt is Ag. Okay, now for the chemical equation, nitric acid and sodium hydroxide. So you get sodium nitrate, Na plus, NO3 minus, plus water. Okay, is it balanced? Yes, one nitrate, one sodium, water. It's balanced. Sulfuric acid, H2SO4 plus potassium hydroxide, KOH. You get K plus, SO4, 2 minus. So it's K2SO4 plus water. So you need to balance with the 2 in front of potassium because there's 2 potassium here. So you need to put 2 in front without touching the rest. Is it balanced now? So potassium is balanced. We have 2 hydrogen plus another 2 hydrogen here. So there are 4 hydrogen over here. There's only 2 hydrogen here. So you need to put a 2 in front. Okay, is it balanced now? Hydrogen is balanced, potassium is balanced, sulfate is balanced. And the last one, we have nitric acid reacting with magnesium oxide. You will get magnesium nitrate and water. Okay, 2 nitrate, so you will balance the 2 here because there's also 2 hydrogen. Okay, the rest, is it balanced? Magnesium, oxygen, yes, balanced. Okay, we come to the end for reactions of acid. So remember that you have to memorize this: acid reacting with reactive metal, you get salt and hydrogen. Acid reacting with carbonate, you get salt, carbon dioxide and water. And acid reacting with alkaline or base, you get salt and water. Okay, thank you for watching. Welcome to Miracle Learning Center to watch more videos. Thank you.